Rick Barnes, Tarrant County GOP Chair, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. So what do you make of the fact that it looks, as of right now, that former Vice President Joe Biden may very well win the White House, and it looks like he's ahead in Tarrant County?
Well, we're still watching the numbers in Tarrant County, of course. We've still got numbers to come in. They're still counting, and we're on top of that process with them. So we aren't quite ready to call that for Tarrant County yet. We'll watch them and see how it comes in. We think we'll have more announcements on that later this afternoon.
Overall, how would you say the county Republicans fared on Tuesday night? Is Tarrant County still solidly Republican if Joe Biden beats Donald Trump in Tarrant County?
We do. We look at the rest of the ballot and we swept everything. The Trump is still going to be a close vote for the Trump-Biden race in Tarrant County, but it's that way across the country. But when you go down below that ballot, that part of the ballot, John Cornyn handedly won his race. All of our state reps won their races. The judges all won, all 11 of them. And so we had a few losses here and there on the ballot, but there's no way to indicate that because of those losses that Tarrant County is anything less than red. The major positions are still Republican-led. The county is still Republican-led, and we aren't going to let the Democrats claim victory over anything whenever the state of Texas is still giving their entire count to Donald Trump in the Electoral College. And so we still feel very comfortable about where we are and the results of the election on Tuesday.
Rick, let me ask you about, because John Cornyn not only got more votes in Tarrant County than President Trump, he did so throughout the entire state. Statewide, it was like 71,500 or so more votes. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the reality is that the message that was being shared by his opponent, the message of direct socialism, the message of getting rid of the oil and gas industry, the message of literally taking people's rights away with the Second Amendment, her position on abortion, those messages are not selling in Tarrant County, but they aren't even selling in the state of Texas. And I think that's pretty clear to people that we went through this exact same conversation in 2018 when Robert Francis O'Rourke was trying to carry that same message, and he lost the state. And so I think in Tarrant County, we admittedly have a lot of work to do in helping people understand that Tarrant County is a big part of the state, a big part of the player in this conversation. But statewide, we still stand very strong on our Republican principles in this state.
But why do you think that John Cornyn got more votes than the president did? Because usually the top of the ticket gets more votes. That's how it's always been in Texas historically. So what was different this time?
Yeah, and I think that's a good question. I think it's worth us having some review with that after we get out of that, actually counting these ballots. You know, we've actually already started our review of the election. We've already started talking about 2022 and what we need to do to prepare for that. And this will certainly be a part of our conversation. I think it's a little bit early for us to give analysis to it or give excuses or to the process. So we're going to start those conversations immediately and try to figure out what that means. I think the only thing that we could say today is that we do know that there are some people that it became a personality issue more so than a policy issue. And unfortunately, people that vote on personalities are going to quickly realize that was a bad way to vote, because the policy mindset that the Biden-Harris ticket brings with them is going to be just as bad as any of the rest of the people down the ballot. And it's just an issue of personality. And that's probably what we're going to end up finding as we look further into the conversation.
And just one more thing on that. So is this a case where some Republicans either didn't vote for president, or they voted for Biden, or Democrats crossed the aisle and voted for Senator Cornyn?
Probably a combination of all three of those. As we look at the numbers, we'll have to ask those questions and figure that out. But certainly, when you look at numbers, you have to answer for those numbers somehow. And that's on a flat number basis. That's probably part of the reality, is all three of those.
Let's talk about the 24th Congressional District. It looks right now that Beth Van Dyne is going to be the next member of Congress for that district, thanks to Tarrant County Republicans. Is that what it looks like to you at this point? Is there any way for Candace Valenzuela to come back that you see?
We do not think so at all. In fact, we're waiting on Valenzuela to actually concede that race. She should have done that already. The numbers are clearly not in her favor. Beth Van Dyne's team has looked at those numbers. The only reason she came out and declared victory was because it was very clear that she's got that race hooked up. Tarrant County was strongly behind her. She's ahead 27,000 votes in Tarrant County, and it's the other parts of her district that didn't hold up as good as they could have, but we don't think that she's at risk. In fact, I've talked to her twice today in helping her deal with things she's dealing with and already making her preparations and making the move to Washington and getting her office set up, her team set up. And so she's ready to move forward, and it's time for both her opponent and the AP to declare the victory in that race.
Today, Speaker Nancy Pelosi at her weekly news conference said that she was disappointed that Democrats didn't pick up any congressional seats in Texas. Your reaction?
Well, our reaction is when Nancy Pelosi's disappointed, we did good. We really don't judge anything we do based on Nancy Pelosi's opinion of it, about her thoughts on anything. She is a part of what's wrong with Washington, D.C., and we're going to continue to provide her with leadership from the Republican side so that we recognize that we can move forward as a country despite her leadership in the House.
Democrats, the Tarrant County Democratic Party Chair, Deborah Peoples, blamed the Democrats' messaging and for not getting out and doing door-to-door, having the ground game. Your reaction?
I think that's a fair assumption on her part. They did not have a ground game. We did. But I think the bigger overarching reaction is you've got to work to win elections. You got to deserve the vote. And I think her candidates don't deserve the vote. And whether that's work or whether they're carrying a bad message. Again, I think their message is detrimental to Tarrant County. It's detrimental to the state of Texas and the money that was pumped in. I think that money by itself ends up working against you because eventually there's a pride in Texas that says very clearly, we're not for sale. And we're not going to let the money flowing in make that kind of a difference in a race. It's all about the ideology of the candidate, and the ideology of the people on her ballot doesn't meet what Tarrant County and or what Texas needs to make itself profitable moving forward.
Tarrant County GOP Chair Rick Barnes, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me some time.
All right, you take care now.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.